Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Saturn Sextile or Trine, one's natal south node. Now, this transit may manifest in career, laborious work, the father, authority figures, older people, responsibilities, and discipline may be in harmony with your past, what you're leaving behind, and I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. The thing is, if you're trying to, leave something behind, and you're willing to work hard, work laboriously to do it, you can have. It can be very successful in those efforts at this time. You may be very successful doing that, but it may come through painstaking effort, and it could also be, as far as the past go, on the positive side, it could be someone prominent in your past. Maybe there's something with the career, where the person in the past maybe figures, might actually be positive for that, or somebody in it could be simply about balancing matters with your career and the past, or being able to put a career in the past and do so with little diversions or distractions, and being able to focus and concentrate on that. And the thing is, another way, this transit could also manifest. It can be a time when you can be able to take responsibility. It could be for people that were prominent in your past. If you have, say, for example, you have, the South Node in Capricorn in the 11th house. It could have been somebody that was, you were in a business club or organization with. It could have been somebody that mentored or taught astrology to you, as some examples, or even another 11th house field, which can include computers or astronomy or aerospace, electronics. It can be also a time when this transit does take place, where again the career that you could be in, whether it might be something monotonous or it's just become old, it's run its course, it's more auspicious for leaving it behind at this time. It's easier to be able to go away from those things, and going away from just negativity in general. Saturn is also connected with fears, so fears, it can be an easier time to get away from that, to leave behind something that may be inhibiting you. I have Saturn in Taurus in the 12th house in my natal chart. Well, actually, I'm sorry, this is the transit, but I have the natal, I have the natal south node in Virgo in my 5th house in the natal chart. And if there's something I need to work hard and leaving behind, like for example, having the natal south node in Virgo in the 5th house, it could be, I wouldn't say it's necessarily analytical or intellectual amusement and enjoyment. It could be being overly critical, of potential lovers, and, children. I don't have any children, but that doesn't really apply to me. But being just overly, it could be just being generally critical. Maybe even having some enjoyment in doing that in some cases. And this is a time where you can, through hard work, I can leave that energy behind. Don't get me wrong, the South Node always, it's going to stay with us to some degree, and it does have some positives in it. It can reflect what we're naturally proficient in, our natural, built-in abilities, but it can have a lot of negative too in it as well. And this is the time where you're more apt to be able to leave this behind, and be able to take or even taking responsibility for something negative connected with the placement. Say if you have the south node in Aquarius, it could be rebellious or non-conforming or very idiosyncratic behavior, as some examples. Now, the south node is also connected with overdeveloped and redundant qualities. So this could be a time during this transit, excuse me, where you could take really, where you have the energy to work hard, to even get away from this maybe. Or it can be where, the fact that this is about what you're naturally proficient in, that the father, authority figures, and older people can actually be more in harmony and agreement with that. Going back to the South Node in Virgo as an example, those people could be in agreement with the natural, analytical, detail-oriented qualities of the South Node in Virgo placement, being able to dissect, compartmentalize. This could be a person that could defrag computers easy, or do things um, which require compartmentalizing, which requires organization, cleaning, as some examples. And it's really a time, and going back to the South Node being connected with the overdeveloped and redundant qualities, if you're trying to work on dealing with those issues, this could be the time where you're apt to do it, because again, Saturn is connected with hard and laborious work, and it's really a time as well where you could be more disciplined in that energy, being able to control it if you have to. If it's something, the South Node, can work to our detriment. Those overdeveloped and redundant qualities can, like with me having the South Node in Virgo, that's kind of like saying, like in astrology, seeing the Dwad within the Dwad. It's almost like over-analysis, going too far into some kind of, analysis. I mean, South Node in Virgo can be very proficient in analyzing things and diagnosing and dissecting things, but sometimes it can go a little bit overboard. As an example, I mean, somebody with the South Node in Aquarius could be somebody that just wants to do, things, unique, and do things different just for the sake of being different, being unique and distinct from others, just to be, when things sometimes can be done in the more, orthodox or conventional manner, as some examples. And the thing is, again, the South Node is connected with what could affect the person to one's detriment. So it is the time where if there's any energy associated with this that may be affecting you, or even it could even be affecting others to one's detriment, this is the time where if you have anybody like a mentor or the father or authority figures, older people, these people may be beneficial for you in dealing with that at this point in time, more so than usual. If you have the South Node in Aries, it could be very over aggressive qualities, being overly forceful and just being outspoken almost for the sake of being outspoken. And these people may be able to help you deal with that energy more so than usual. South Node in Aries, I would say, could indicate acrimonious outbursts that aren't necessary, that are that wind up, that could cause certain repercussions for that person. Now, the South Node is also connected with our comfort zone and where we're complacent, where we feel comfortable in. The South Node in Virgo with me, that's just a lot of comfort in just being able to work, being industrious, trying to stay busy. But since I have the North Node in Pisces, what I'm really, my calling more is for, especially in the second half of life, which I'm currently in, is more about relaxing. It's more about forgiving, overlooking transgressions and shortcomings of others. The comfort zone is something that we're naturally good at, or adept in, or feel comfortable and connected with the South Node. But this is a time where you can more apt to be able to limit that energy. Saturn is about limitations and restrictions. On the positive side, I think this could manifest in being able to have an easier time, at least lessening that energy and being able to focus more on the North Node. Remember, when you have this transit, when transit Saturn makes a sextile or trine to your natal South Node, of course, it's also making a sextile or trine to the natal North Node. If the transit Saturn, as an example, if it's making a sextile to your natal South Node, it will be making a trine to the natal North Node. So it could be auspicious as well for working hard on the development of the North Node placements. Now, another way this transit could manifest, it could be about responsibility, which is Saturn, being able to leave behind which is a South Node, something that may affect you to your detriment, which is still the South Node. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now as an example, if the South Node is in Capricorn in the ninth house, it could be, which you may be leaving behind or trying to, could be a cold or callous, which is Capricorn. It could be an in-law, which is the ninth house. Um, Another thing about another way this transit could manifest, it could be where the father, which is Saturn, could be more in harmony and agreement with what you're going away from, which is the South Node. If the South Node is in Gemini in the 10th house as an example, it could be a Mercurial, which is Gemini career, which is the 10th house situation. This transit could also be auspicious for planned and premeditated, which is Saturn activity with someone from your past, which is the South Node. If the South Node is in Pisces in the 5th house as an example, it could be somebody that you enjoyed fantasy, which is Pisces, games with. It could have been hypothetical sports matchups as another example. It could also be a time where this is propitious for laborious work, which is Saturn, and what you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. If the South Node, say, is in, say it's in Scorpio in the 8th house as an example, it could simply be, deep research. You could be into matters that are pertaining to death and crime as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.